Dawn breaks over Thermopylae, not with the golden light of legend, but in cold, ashen silence. Mist clings to the cliffs like a shroud. The narrow pass, once echoing with Spartan war cries, now hums only with the distant, rhythmic thunder of Persian drums. King Leonidas stands motionless for a heartbeat, his crimson cloak stirring in the wind. Then, without a word, he turns. His bronze greaves grind against stone as he leads his 300, not to glory, but to retreat. The path behind them empties, the path ahead, uncertain. In that single pivot, history fractures. No last stand, no immortal defiance, only the weight of a king who chose survival over sacrifice, and the chilling ripple of a world unmade by his absence. In our timeline, Leonidas did not turn back. He stood, and in that stand, he forged a myth that galvanized Greece. 480 BC, the turning point of Western civilization flashes over ghostly reenactments. Spartans braced in the pass, arrows blotting out the sun, the king's final roar swallowed by Persian steel. Their sacrifice bought Athens time to evacuate, to build a fleet, to lure Xerxes into the trap at Salamis. But in this shadowed world where Leonidas lives, that spark never ignites. The Greek alliance fractures before it forms. Without Thermopylae, martyrdom, there is no shared fury, no unifying legend. Athens hesitates, Sparta withdraws, and the Persian tide rolls south, unchallenged, not just conquering cities, but extinguishing the fragile flame of democracy before it can spread. A runner stumbles into camp, breath ragged, eyes wide with dread. The Anopeia path, taken. Ephialtes has shown them the way. Leonidas grips the scout, his shoulder, his jaw tight. Around him the 300 brace, not for battle, but for flight. In this alternate world, the king chooses survival over sacrifice. Bronze glints under storm-heavy clouds as the Spartans melt into the high trails, abandoning the pass. An animated map unfurls. Persian forces surge through the narrow gap, unchecked, while Spartan icons retreat westward in a desperate red line. The drums grow louder, not of war, but of conquest unchallenged. Without a martyr as stand, there is no rallying cry, only the quiet unraveling of a coalition that never was. The Persian tide crashes through the empty pass. Xerxes, banners unfurling over silent stones. No bodies clog the narrows, only the wind whips through abandoned shields. Word spreads faster than the army. Sparta fled. In Athens, panic ignites. Without Thermopylae, a sacrifice to stiffen their resolve, the assembly fractures. Some plead for surrender, others scramble ships toward Sicily. The fleet meant for Salamis scatters before it ever forms. Meanwhile, Sparta's name, once synonymous with unbreakable will, now whispers shame in the agora. Allies, who once looked to them for steel, now see only retreat. As Persian cavalry fans across Boeotia, burning olive groves and temples alike, Greece doesn't fall in a blaze of glory. It dissolves in disbelief, its unity shattered not by force, but by the absence of a myth that never was. Back in Sparta, the news ignites fury. The Gerousia convenes in shadowed stone halls, elders slamming fists on marble. Leonidas, as retreat branded not as strategy but betrayal. A king who retreats loses more than a battle. He loses faith, intones the narrator as the camera sweeps over fractured phalanx formations. Argive hoplites turn their backs. Corinthians withdraw their oaths, and even Arcadian allies melt away like mist at dawn. Crimson cloaks, once symbols of unwavering resolve, now hang limp in barracks stripped of honor. On the Peloponnesian isthmus, hastily erected walls stand half-built. No one trusts Sparta to hold the line. Without Leonidas, as sacrifice to sanctify their cause, the Greek alliance doesn't just weaken. It evaporates, unit by unit, city by city, until only silence remains where unity once stood. With Leonidas as retreat, Xerxes' army remains unbroken, over 150,000 strong, its momentum unchecked. Animated maps flare to life. Crimson arrows surge southward, bypassing ruined defenses, converging on Attica with terrifying speed. The Persian fleet, no longer lured into the narrow straits of Salamis, sails unopposed along the coast. Its triremes, shadowing the land, advance like a second tide. Athens, stripped of allies and time, burns, not in heroic defiance, but in chaotic evacuation. Temples smolder as refugees crowd the Piraeus docks, their hopes fleeing westward with the last Athenian ships. Without a naval showdown to cripple Xerxes' command of the sea, Persian supply lines stretch unchallenged from the Hellespont to the Isthmus. Greece doesn't fall in a single battle. It unravels province by province, its cities isolated, its spirit starved of the legend that once bound them. The drums don't stop. They multiply. In the hollow silence left by Sparta's retreat, the Aegean becomes Xerxes' lake. Athenian triremes, stripped of allies and purpose, drift in disarray. No Themistocles to rally them, no shared cause to ignite their oars. At Artemisium, what little fleet remains meets Persian squadrons not in desperate defense, but in fragmented skirmishes, easily overwhelmed. Without Thermopylae, martyrdom to steal their resolve, Greek captains hoist white sails or vanish into the Cyclades. The Persian navy consolidates control, blockading coasts, severing supply lines, and delivering troops deep into the Peloponnesian heartland. Democracy, born in the agora of Athens, drowns not in blood, but in apathy, as city after city bows to the great king's peace. The sea, once a highway of free polities, now mirrors only the oars of empire. Years pass. Sparta, stripped of its myth, turns inward, its militarism no longer a shield of Greece, but a cage of shame. The argouge grows harsher, not to forge warriors for war, but to punish memory. In Athens, the Acropolis rises not as a beacon of reason, but as a Persian garrison. The Parthenon is never built. Instead, a golden statue of Xerxes gazes eastward from the sacred rock. Philosophy flickers and dies in exile. Socrates never walks the agora. Plato's academy remains an unspoken dream. Without the confidence born of victory, Greek thought never questions the gods. With such boldness, never dares to place man at the center of the cosmos. The golden age evaporates before dawn. And with no united Hellenic identity, no legacy of defiance to inspire him, Alexander of Macedon is born not a conqueror of worlds, but a provincial satrap. Son, his name lost to the dust of an empire that never dreamed of spreading Greek fire across Asia. Statues of Leonidas crumble in forgotten shrines, their faces eroded by centuries of rain that never knew Greek defiance. Alexandria, no library burns, because it was never built. In Rome, no senators quote Pericles, for there is no Periclean age to echo. The camera glides over a modern skyline where minarets and ziggurats blend seamlessly. No Parthenon silhouette, no Acropolis to crown a city of reason. Streets bear names of Persian satraps, not philosophers. Children learn of Xerxes not as a tyrant, but as the unifier who brought order to the fractious West. Democracy remains a footnote in Babylonian archives, a curious custom of a minor coastal tribe. The Olympic flame never reignites. Instead, the games of the king, peace unfold beneath imperial banners. If Thermopylae fails in purpose, the world changes forever, not with a cataclysm, but with silence, where ideas once roared. The wind howls through the empty pass once more. Leonidas halts on a ridge, turns, just once, to gaze back at Thermopylae. Below, dust swirls where Spartans once stood shoulder to shoulder. Now, only the ghost of their absence lingers. His hand tightens on his spear, not in battle, but in burden. The choice is made. The path unwinds behind him, not in glory, but in silence. One decision, one retreat, one world rewritten. Should we make a full series of Spartan alternate history timelines? Comment below.